Hi, I'm Jack, and yes, I have yet another new type of video that I will be implementing. I I think that I kind of can't keep track of if I've said this in clips that I've posted or if I've cut this out, but I'm just going to be mixing it up on this channel. I'm just going to be doing various things, um, and so over the voiceover of me reading these Reddit posts that I found, I will be playing Insaniquarium Deluxe. I did a trial run of this, and I found that I could not read while playing, so I'm just going to read them in the background while you watch this funny game with fish and aliens in it. So I've got a few Am I the Asshole posts, classic. I have a couple Am I Overreacting, some from Best of Redditor updates, and then a couple more random ones. I hope that none of these are proven to be fake. I hope that none of these are by AI, but I'm just cold reading all of them, so let's see how much success we have with those goals. The first one was posted a half hour ago. Am I the asshole for waking my husband up in the middle of the night after getting stung by a wasp in bed? I don't, off the title, I don't think you're the asshole for that. You get stung by a wasp, you're gonna react, and that's likely to wake somebody up. Long-time lurker, first-time post. My husband, 42 male, and I, 37 female, have been married for 6 years together. 6 years, together for 8. We have a wonderful, loving relationship, and never had any major issues, and rarely disagree. If we do, it's over very small, normal things, and we always communicate well, make up quickly, and maintain mutual respect for each other. Until last night. We live in an old farmhouse, so a few insects getting inside is a normal part of life, and that, of course, includes the occasional wasp. So last night, we are both comfortably sleeping, and around 8:30 in the morning, I rolled over and bang, got stung in the hand by a wasp crawling on top of the comforter. I know that for some people, that's like an absolute horror. I mean, like, obviously nobody wants that to happen, but like, I know that for some people that's like your phobia. I screamed out loud and had one of those startled, flailing freakouts. It hurt like hell, and I didn't really know what was going on for about 2 seconds as I was jolted out of a deep sleep. Yeah, so it's like, it's literally just a reaction. Literally a reaction to being stung by a wasp. Like, this one feels like an easy one. This also startled my husband awake, who proceeded to scream at me, tell me I was inconsiderate for waking him up, that he had a very big day at work, and he couldn't believe that I was so loud and obnoxious over a teeny tiny bug. I told him I got stung, but he didn't seem to care. He just harumphed, rolled over, and went back to sleep. No big deal. I figured he was also half asleep and got startled too, and we would talk it through, and he would apologize in the morning, but no. He chose to double down and refused to even look at me, and gave me the silent treatment all morning. I asked him why he was being so childish because I was the one who got stung in the middle of the night, and screaming and having a reflex response to pain, like that would be normal. He said, I don't think that's the case, and we'll talk about it when I get home from work. Then he left for work without saying I love you for the first time in our 6-year marriage. I was floored. I can't believe he's pulling such behavior over something that I would think is an easily understandable reaction. He got home tonight and still didn't want to talk about it, but then he proceeded to blame me for his bad day at work, because he didn't get the sleep he needed to be on his game, and can't believe that I would create such a ruckus over a stupid bee. He called me dramatic and an overreactor, but clearly he's the one being dramatic and overreacting. Okay, Reddit. Am I the asshole for getting stung in the middle of the night? I think what I'm feeling here is that what I'm feeling as I read this, before stepping into OP's shoes at all, is that this is one of those times where somebody just knows that they're not in the wrong and they just want to post about what happened to them. And that reaction makes me irrationally irritated in a way that makes me go, well, this is clearly fake. Yes, hi, this is Editing Jack. Yeah, I was right on the couple of twinges of doubt that I had about the story, I think, because I went to look up the story as I was editing, and the post is locked, also deleted, and the user who posted also deleted. So, I don't know if that's a sign of a story being fake. It certainly couldn't. I assume you can get terminated on Reddit, but can you get terminated on Reddit for being found out that your account is fake and that you're, like, posting fake stories. I don't know. But yeah, that one was taken down, so I think that one's fake. Because now I'm looking at this and I'm like, anything could be fake. Anything on the internet can be fake. But this is just such a clear... Yeah, I don't know, Chief. We've got a lot of people saying not the asshole. Seems like he's stressed, blah blah blah. And when he finally closed his eyes, you woke him up. Maybe talk it out. She already did. Not the asshole, but I feel like he lashed out some pent-up frustrations. Maybe you need to catch up with each other. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't had problems for 6 years, doubt, and then he just blows up at you about this, like, there's clearly something else going on underneath. A truly understanding partner obviously is not going to get upset at you for being awoken by a wasp. Somebody asked, on a completely unrelated topic, why did your previous post mention you being a single mom to a 17-year-old just a year ago, and now you have a husband of 6 years? There we go. Clocked. The OP responds, raised him as a single mom, have been fortunate enough to have a loving partner for a few years ago. And he also has 2 kids, and we keep parenting out of each other's responsibility. Interesting. Interesting information there, OP. Info, is he under particular stress at work? Is there anything stressful going on in your respective lives or relationship? Any family illness, major change? If this is out of character for him, try to get to the bottom of it. I mean, yeah, she's trying to. I think that's really why she's here, if this is not fake, is like, she kind of just wants to make sense of his actions, more so than ask if she truly is the asshole. I think she really is just trying to make sense of his actions, because, like, once I put on, like, the empathy cap, and, like, I'm, like, there, I would absolutely be rattled, especially if you haven't really had issues like this before. But this is a brand new story. Nobody has directly called it fake yet. Oh, okay, so I refreshed it, and that one asking if he's been under stress at work, the OP has now replied to, saying this must be the case, it is really out of character. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like a nothing burger. This one is, am I overreacting? Okay, this one was 18 hours ago, so it's been up for a minute here. It's got a screenshot of messages back and forth. The title is, am I overreacting? My boyfriend didn't even say happy birthday to me yesterday. So, obviously, if you're somebody's partner, knowing their birthday is a really important thing. So, I think this... I was gonna say this might come down to, like, being too soon of a relationship. I mean, I don't know. I would still give it a pass if that's the case. Okay, I don't know whether to read the screenshot first or the text first, so I'm gonna read the screenshot. So, from OP. Don't forget I'm making nachos and cheesecake today if you want any. And then from boyfriend. I'm ashamed and embarrassed, I don't even have anything for you. Facepalm emoji 3 times. You shouldn't be making stuff for me on your own birthday. And then OP says, I'm not making it for you, I'm making it for me. I want nachos and cheesecake, but I'm inviting you to join me if you want to. Boyfriend says, I do want to, I'm so ashamed. OP says, I'm not hosting no pity party, just a nacho and cheesecake one. And then, it looks like 8 hours later? I'm guessing you don't have time for cheesecake. 8 hours later? Damn. Alright, so the text reads, my boyfriend, 38 male, didn't wish me, 31 female, a happy birthday yesterday. He said nothing. So I sent him the message about the cake and nachos, and he sent that. I really don't understand this guy's mentality. He keeps saying, I do want to, and then never shows. He could have walked across the street from his work for 5 minutes to see me, but he did not. Was my no pity party response too much? Should I not be upset about this situation? How long have they been, like... I do wonder how long they've been together, because this sounds like new relationship and he's not serious about it. Top commenter, if you dump him, you will have exactly the same amount of birthday wishes. Honestly, it's remarkable that he made it all about him. I think your response was perfect. Yeah. You're not overreacting if your response is to dump him. I don't know if it's as cut and dry if you're the one dating him, because he makes it sympathetic, but he makes it about himself still. He's like, oh, I'm so ashamed. I can't believe I didn't even. Oh, I can't believe I forgot. And then doesn't say anything. Like, maybe he just started gaming, or like gooning, or something. Yeah, people are saying follow your gut. Ooh, giving up the bed. Man, it gets dicey when you're living with someone, I guess. Do they live together? Did it say so? I don't know. I feel like if they lived together, then she wouldn't, ask about him coming over for nachos and cheese. Uh, this one I agree with. Wake up, break up. Okay. He obviously doesn't care about you. He keeps saying, I do want to, then never shows. That's your answer right there. If he really wanted to, he would. And, man, you can be told that until the cows come home or whatever, but if you're not ready to hear it, you're probably not going to hear it. Another one. 38, nor, I thought he was 17. 38? Yeah, no, I did clock that as well. I was like, when I was reading off the ages, I was like, oh, 38 and acting like that? No. Yeah, I don't know. This one just kind of seems like a post where the OP is asking for validation to break up. And I think that's valid. One from r slash nothing ever happens, and I will put a picture of it in the screen. Frost can form images like this, especially in the northern regions, and the picture is a screenshot from r slash LSD originally. Frost on my car window looks like a sketch, and it really is very beautiful. It's you can see out a car window. I'm assuming OP is not driving. It looks like maybe a passenger window that they're filming out of while they're turning, because you can see the blurriness of the car headlights and the stoplight, and the frost on the window makes it honestly look like a Bob Ross painting. It makes it look like there's like a tree line and either a meadow or like lake, and the street lights behind it make it look truly like a work of art at first. But yeah, no, I think that looks... I've seen frost form on a window like that. I live in Edmonton, can confirm frost can look like this. Just south of... Yeah, in Calgary, frost does weird things. This is cool and doesn't even crack the top 10 wildest shit I've seen from frost. Especially not after pea soup thick fog for 5 straight days, making hoar-frost nearly a solid inch thick. God damn. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of frost that look like this. It's too precise to be from somebody's figure, too. You can see the actual... Oh, finger, I guess. You can see the actual finger marks toward the top, and humans just have really powerful pattern recognition. Yeah, that part. There's already some doubts in the comments, so it's nice to see somebody with a brain. You're absolutely right. I've seen some very interesting frost patterns before. This is a great example of it. IDK about that one, there are artists that work specifically with frost and snow. Okay, but that would still be frost and snow. Maybe I'm stupid, but how would this even be fake? Definitely real. It could easily be faked with a filter on a normal image. A filter? Oh, I see what they're getting at. I see what they're getting at. No, I was thinking like, you know, take a picture of some frost and Photoshop it into those shapes. Whatever. It's so silly, the things that people on the internet claim never happened. Like, go touch grass. Alright, another one from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for getting upset over labels? Okay. My boyfriend, 54, male, of a year and a half, went to a bar alone today that we frequented together. When the bartender asked, "Where's your girlfriend?" he replied, "We don't do labels, we have fun and hang out." Okay, well that's not a boyfriend. She's out of town and will be back next week. Am I the asshole for getting upset that he's denied our relationship? As he was telling me, I was so upset. Over the past year and a half, he's referred to me as his girlfriend, but when single in a bar, he denies that he's in a relationship. Is he trying to establish that he's single? Do I really mean nothing to him? He tried to say that we agreed that we don't like labels. I reminded him that's a conversation I didn't participate in because it didn't happen. Help, Reddit. I think it's telling that she didn't mention her age at all. This dude is 54. I would bet money that that OP is very young. Yeah, let's check the comments because I hope that she's able to also wake up. Oh, let me also refresh this page. Alright, this was posted about an hour ago by now. Yeah, if he calls you girlfriend in private, but a bit of fun in public, that's not your boyfriend. That's exactly what I said. Not the asshole, but I'd peace out. Yeah, it's so when he takes someone else there, the barman doesn't tell her, exactly. Not the asshole. You started the post with my boyfriend. He is publicly referring to you as a friend, so... Math ain't mathing. Okay. Interesting you're on here asking a question about labels. Whichever way the comments fall, you'll be labeled either the asshole or not the asshole. But to your situation, you're your boyfriend's girlfriend when you're with him, and when you're not with him, he's a single guy. That should tell you everything you need to know. Oh, how old are you? Are you much younger? At 51, he might be finding it difficult to get a girlfriend closer to his own age. Somebody said they are the same age, and I'm like, huh? Give me a second. I don't think... My boyfriend, 54 male. So, at no point does she say that she's his same age. In the comments either. Someone says, update me, all one word, in there and it messes with your head. Not the asshole, this is such a red flag. I mean, yeah. You don't even really have to talk to him about it, though. You can ghost him, just get your stuff and leave. Somebody says, it's astonishing to me that this man made it to his mid-50s and still doesn't have the emotional intelligence to understand why we don't like labels. Doesn't apply if you only remove the label in situations that play in your favor. No, that doesn't have anything to do with emotional intelligence. Like, it's not about him being dumb. It's about him being scum. I want to say that he's aware and just doesn't care, but I'm honestly confused as to why he admitted that to you out of nowhere. Because he doesn't care. It's because he doesn't care. You're trying to think about him as though he sees the OP as, like, a human being. He doesn't. He straight up doesn't. He straight up sees her as an object. And he doesn't care, and that's why he said it straight up to her. Especially if she's getting more fussy and asking questions. Again, I know I'm making a heavy assumption here that the OP is very young, but I'll be damned. I'll bet $5 that the OP is under the age of 25. Let me finish this comment. If he's not willing to have an actual discussion, this is 100% a waste of your time. It's already a waste of her time. But the fact this even occurred to begin with is problematic. Exactly. Period. Like, you already have your information. Break up with him. Man, there's so many Reddit posts that are like, am I the asshole or am I overreacting? And what they're actually asking is, should I break up with him? Oh, I'll read this one. Okay. I would tell him to kick rocks, pound sand, hit the curb, tell him there's a door and don't let him hit ya where the good Lord split ya. There's no need for a conversation, he has no respect for you nor any woman. He's out there swinging his dick trying to see what he can pick up. He's a filthy little critter. You're a queen that deserves to be treated like one. He's not worth your time or attention or money. Girl, run fast. After 1.5 years, you know enough that he ain't worth the shite out of his mouth. Granny. Heart heart. Thank you, Granny, for that. Honestly, to the point. It was everything I said, but a lot more concise. Women are better at everything than men. Hey, this is Editing Jack, again. This story, man, everybody was just assuming she was, like, in her early 20s, but as somebody pointed out in the comments, if you go back into her profile, she has another story where she has described herself as 51 years old. And taking a glance at her other stories, I just want to say to the user that posted this story, maybe decenter men, you know? Maybe stick by that first post that you posted about how friends are more important, because you may have lost the plot a little bit, and I do want you to be in a fulfilling relationship one day. So yeah, maybe invest in friendships for a little bit more, again, because this is not the guy. Alright, this next one is from Best of Redditor Updates, originally posted on Am I Overreacting, January 5th, 2026. Am I overreacting? Not invited to the husband's best friend's rehearsal dinner. Hi, this is Editing Jack. Again. I somehow missed, like, the front part of this, post, but there's something kind of important in that there is a trigger warning for miscarriage. So, I'll go ahead and put timestamps, for when they talk about the miscarriage, and I will also just put... I'm going to put chapter timestamps anyway on this video, so if you just want to skip this story altogether, you can. The miscarriage part of it is a very minor detail that comes in later. throwaways so that if any of the people involved find this, it doesn't lead them back to my main account. My husband, 31 male, and I, 30 female, have been married for 5 years and together for 11. Husband and his best friend, BFF for short, were childhood best friends and their families are very close. I, on the other hand, am not very close to BFF because he lives far away and we don't see him very often. With that said, we get along fine and, as far as I know, there's no bad blood. BFF is getting married in 2 weeks. It's a destination wedding, and we will all be traveling 8 hours by plane and an additional 2 hours by train to attend. Husband is the best man. This past weekend, the wedding party was sent the details about the rehearsal dinner. BFF reached out to husband separately to let him know no partners or spouses were invited. Okay, no problem. I can hang out with husband's family that night. I reached out to one of his sisters to plan something for that night, and she informed me that the husband's whole family, mom, dad, and 2 sisters, were invited to the rehearsal dinner. I don't know anyone else at this wedding, so I'm on my own. I can't help but feel a little bitter that I'm being excluded. I am okay with the whole no partners thing, but it hurts that the rest of the husband's family was invited. Husband understands where I'm coming from, and is a little annoyed on my behalf, but doesn't want to rock the boat. Of course he doesn't. One of husband's sisters, the one that I texted, is pissed and wants to boycott the rehearsal dinner and hang out with me, but she doesn't really like BFF, so she's biased. Mother-in-law and father-in-law won't let her skip the dinner because they also don't want to create any issues. Am I overreacting? That's interesting. I do think it's suspicious when the sister is suspicious of her brother's friend. You know, I think that's worth noting. Unless sister-in-law is just on one and just a weirdo, I think she might be like calling something out because notably, husband and mother-in-law and father-in-law they just don't want to rock the boat. That's all. They were childhood best friends because their families are close. Okay, so they're family friends. So like, I guess I get that. I guess I get that. But I think it's just straight up rude if somebody you really care about in your life. I mean, but are all the other siblings bringing their partners as well? Because I can see it just being the families because the families are close. I wonder if we'll find out if we go into the comments. This one's from a downvoted commenter. If the family are all invited, this seems very strange. Was your name left off the invitation? Maybe it was just an error. I don't think that was it. Your husband could ask if it was a mistake if you were left off the invite in a jovial way. Excuse me? Otherwise, surely he would have known the reason, considering you're married. Are the family's partners invited? That was the only coherent part of this comment. I can see why you got downvoted. Did you even read the whole thing? Okay. OP. There was no formal invitation for the rehearsal dinner, just a text message. BFF texted husband separately to let him know I'm not invited. Most of the wedding party is single, but one of the groomsmen is married to a bridesmaid, so they're obviously invited. Then one other groomsman has a girlfriend, but she isn't going to the wedding at all, so that's not an issue. Yeah, because they're family friends. I don't think I would take it personally. Another commenter. You're overreacting. It's not a big deal, it's just a rehearsal dinner, and you don't know the guy. OP says, just for clarity, I know him. I've hosted him at my house when he visited, even before husband and I moved in together since husband lives in a studio. We're not super close because I've only seen him like 5 times over 11 years. I don't know. I think she might be overreacting a little bit, because I don't think she's thinking in big enough terms. Like, it's a family friend, and the family was invited, and their partners were not invited, except for one of them whose partner was already in the wedding, so I do think that OP is overreacting. I am interested to see what happens in the update, because this is in Best of Redditor updates. Another commenter said, not overreacting. This is stupid, your family. This isn't partners or no partners. Your husband's family is going, you are his family. Hey, you mentioned no partners, but obviously my entire family is invited. It would be pretty strange to say OP isn't invited, so I assume she's coming along. All he needs to say. Another commenter replies, was his family invited for being his family though? It's likely they were invited because they knew and have relationships with the groom. They're not the husband's +4, they are their own guests. Yeah. OP says, this is mostly correct. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are close with BFF's parents. One sister-in-law had a bad relationship with BFF. Okay, there we go. The other is not close, but she's underage, so it makes no sense she would be going with her parents. Okay, yeah, so I kind of was right when I said sister-in-law might just be on one. It just seems like this is... The picture is clear before me. It's just family friends, childhood family friends, and the one sister-in-law that's like, yeah, we should boycott it, just has beef already. Yeah. Another commenter said everyone's overreacting. Agree. It sucks you aren't invited, but it is what it is, you barely know him. It's fine for sister-in-law to skip it. It's an invitation, not a summons. She can politely decline any invitations she receives. But calling it boycotting is very drama with a capital D. Agree. Presumably she is an adult, so mother-in-law and father-in-law can't stop her, and then having an opinion is even more overreacting and drama. Her giving in to their drama is more drama. Drama on drama on drama. She should skip it politely and bond with you. Everyone else should carry about their day and chill like adults. OK said, yeah, I think you're right. Good, okay. That's where it should stop, right? There's an update, and it came the very next day, so we'll see if it's a nothing burger. All over a rehearsal dinner, man. My post didn't get a ton of attention, but I wanted to thank everyone who took the time to reply. It gave me a bit of a reality check. Unfortunately, things have gone a bit sideways. I'm making this post to provide a small update, and then I'm logging out of this account forever. Ooh, even more drama. I called sister-in-law after I made my post yesterday to tell her that she shouldn't skip the rehearsal dinner on my behalf. She told me she still wasn't going to go, and that after talking to her parents about it, they were still not happy with her decision, but they understood. She then told me there was some information I didn't know, but that it wasn't her place to tell me, and she encouraged me to talk to husband about it. For the couple of you who said it seemed like I was being intentionally excluded, you were correct. Husband hadn't told me any of this because it had been such a rough year and he wanted to spare my feelings. BFF and his wife don't like me, and that's why they don't want me there. The no partners thing was the excuse husband gave me to spare my feelings. I guess there were a few incidents that contributed to their negative feelings toward me. Some I understand, others I don't, but of course, I don't need to agree with their reasoning. They're allowed to dislike me for any reason. It started when husband was supposed to fly out to visit BFF last year, and they were going to attend a concert together. Oh, brother. He didn't end up going because I had a miscarriage and passed the fetus the night before he was supposed to leave. A few months later, I flew BFF out to surprise husband for his birthday. It was apparently rude that I didn't also offer to buy his fiance's ticket. While they were visiting, I made a dinner one night that included one of the fiance's allergens, so she was only able to eat sides. This one I completely agree was inconsiderate of me. Anyway, husband and I are considering having me sit out the wedding altogether. He's going to have a talk with BFF and ask what he and his fiancée prefer, so that it doesn't come off as another slight. Edit. Jesus, you guys are mean. Yesterday when I said I was disappointed that I was excluded from the rehearsal dinner, I was an overdramatic, insecure woman who couldn't stand to let my husband be away from me for a couple of hours. Today I'm pathetic because I'm not being more dramatic, going scorched earth and divorcing my husband. Some of you are literally laughing at my misfortune. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's been less than 24 hours since I found all of this out. It has been 3 days since my husband found out that his best friend of more than 20 years, who has a very close relationship with his family, hates me. Give us a minute to process it, damn. And yes, correct, real, correct. People forget that this is people's lives. Like, yeah, it's entertaining to read, but like, we all should be more grateful when stuff doesn't devolve into drama. I'm glad that she found this out in a relatively drama-free way, to be honest. And it is kind of shitty still to me that the husband was aware of a lot of these things and just kept it from her. But it seems that he comes from peacekeeper parents, and if you're gonna marry a peacekeeper, honey, you gotta expect him not to stand up for you, because that's not the peace that he's trying to keep. Downvoted commenter. Blaming you for a miscarriage is insane. However, blaming you for literally trying to kill his fiancée is legitimate? Oh, the allergy thing. Okay, you knew about her allergy but still used that ingredient? You're a danger to her, so I can see why they didn't like you and want to exclude you. Oki responds, trying to kill her? She has a mild shellfish allergy, and she still eats it if it's something she really likes because it's worth it, her words. I forgot about it until they brought it up to us during dinner. It was definitely inconsiderate of me, but good God, I didn't attempt to murder the woman. I can see that, but I also don't know how that didn't cross OP's mind when she was initially being excluded from the wedding. I don't know. I think that would be fair. It's really funny that comment got downvoted. It's really funny it says downvoted commenter, and the beginning of the comment is blaming you for a miscarriage is insane. It's just funny. Another commenter. Your husband should be calling out his friend's garbage behavior. His fiancé expected you to pay for her plane ticket too? That's outrageous. Your husband should be rethinking his relationship with his friend. OP said, husband is planning on distancing himself after the wedding, but still wants to maintain some level of friendship because their families are close. Peacekeeper. He's also holding out the hope that BFF will come around at some point. Another commenter. They are mad because you had a miscarriage, and hold on, your husband, the other half that created said fetus, decided to support and care for you? That alone is grounds for the end of the friendship. And the whole ticket thing? Rude, even if they're married. I don't know why people are assuming that they're mad that she had a miscarriage. I think that's really fucked up. I think that's a little bit pain fetishy that people are being like, they hate you because you miscarried? Where was that indication? They don't hate her because she miscarried. If anything, they just don't care that she miscarried. Like, saying these random strangers are blaming her for her miscarriage is wild. Why are you commenting that? Why do you want her to feel like that? It's baseless. Yeah, OP responds, husband thinks that BFF doesn't understand the whole miscarriage thing because he's not in that stage of that life. I guess the thing that BFF had a hard time understanding was why husband couldn't come since the miscarriage was already complete. Yeah, they don't hate her for miscarrying. You two are weirdos for commenting that. You're weirdos for commenting that. You are. That's so weird. Another comment, not overreacting, please sit out that vile wedding. Do you really want to travel 8 hours for that misery? If your sister-in-law lives anywhere near you, she can skip it too if she wants, and then invite her over to your place to pop popcorn and watch When Harry Met Sally, instead of going anywhere near... Okay, yeah. Okay. Alright. I'd like to know more of why sister-in-law doesn't like BFF. Alright, OP responds to that by saying, sister-in-law doesn't like BFF because she thinks he's immature and self-centered. The rest of the family doesn't exactly agree, but they have a much higher tolerance level for it. Peacekeepers. I also think they feel indebted to him and his family because BFF's family helped out husband's family through a really hard time years ago. And there's more questions about the allergen thing. I'll leave a link to all of these so that you can read them. Another comment here. I didn't see the previous post, but here it sounds like BFF is standing up for his fiancé, complains about not buying the airplane ticket and the allergen meal, while your partner does not stand up for you, and neither do his parents. In fact, it sounds like his parents don't like you either. Not overreacting, but consider if you can be happy long-term with him, almost everyone closest to him hates you. OP said, my mother-in-laws do not hate me, per sister-in-law, because I don't totally trust my husband's words right now. My in-laws are people pleasers, yes, who do not want to rock the boat with family who has been really good to them in hard times. They think BFF is wrong, but he's a good person who will come around in time. And that's the kind of enabling behavior that allows manipulators to keep their fingers in other people's families. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of toxicity afoot. That was a little bit of a plot twist. It was not a dramatic plot twist, but it was a plot twist, because we were all saying, yeah, you're overreacting, and then we all found out more information, along with OP, and as it turns out, she was not overreacting. The family just hates her. Okay, this one is from r/nothing-ever-happens, one of my favorite subreddits, because I do like to suspend my disbelief when I'm being entertained. The post says, is this Nothing Ever Happens material, or do y'all think this actually didn't happen? So, it's a screenshot somebody posted in an r/self. I always eat alone in my car to avoid socializing. Today, the new girl at work knocked on my window. I rolled down the window, fully expecting her to tell me I was parked wrong. Instead, she held out a Tupperware box. She said, hey, I noticed you're always out here. I made way too much pasta last night, and I hate eating leftovers alone. Do you... ... maybe want to help me finish this? It's better than a cold sandwich. We sat on the curb near my car, and somehow the topic shifted to sports. Turns out she's a huge cricket nerd. Oh, is this a British person? We talked for like 30 minutes straight about the recent series and debated whether our team's bowling lineup is actually good or if we just got lucky. She even pulled out her phone to show me a catch highlight she saved on Instagram. She ended up asking if I wanted to grab lunch for real on Friday to continue the debate. I walked back into the office, feeling like I just won. That's very possible. That's very possible, you know, especially if she just finds him attractive. There's a lot of attractive introverts out there, you know, that just don't have a lot of luck with other people romantically just because they're a little awkward. But if a hot girl finds your awkward ass attractive, then she finds you attractive, you know? This is very, very plausible. But the reason it was posted to this subreddit is because the top comment on it was painfully fictional. And I just think that's so funny. That's just people telling on themselves that they don't have interactions with other people. Yeah, exactly. Top comment. I suppose to them, a girl showing interest seems unrealistic, but otherwise it seems reasonable enough that it could happen. Somebody replies to that, if it was the 90s and the social norms weren't skewed so much toward never bother strangers and coworkers count as strangers, then it would be believable. Nowadays, it's super weird she did what she did, bordering on stalker behavior. That's definitely an incel comment. Never bother strangers, ever, and coworkers count as strangers. I wonder what weird shit you've done to your coworkers. Another comment. I hope it happened, to be honest, so I'll just pretend because that's pretty sweet. Yeah. Another one. The scenario is obviously plausible, but it reads like a short ChatGPT story, and if you look at OP's account, it's a bunch of similar short feel-good stories, all posted within the last week. God damn it. Ah! We got. Okay, here's another comment. Yeah. This particular instance may be fake, but I, a pretty goofy-looking guy, have had women take the initiative to meet me before. Not exactly like this, but close enough. I mean, I use the plural because it happened twice, years apart, so it could happen. And I think that's the takeaway that we should get from this. Maybe it didn't actually happen because this user only posts ChatGPT stories, but we had to come across one of them today. We had to come across at least one. And I hope by the time that I post this, there aren't, like, most of these stories gone because they were fake. Okay. Here's one from Best of Redditor Updates, originally from, hello? Originally from where? Well, I don't know what subreddit this was posted in originally. Okay. The title is, I have slept with both of my best friends, and my boyfriend of 4 years is uncomfortable with that. Okay. Are we gonna have some biphobia here? Okay. Original post, April 30th, 2015. This is nearly 11 years old. I'll be breaking this up into sections just to keep it all in chronological order. You can scroll down to part 3 for the actual issue with my boyfriend. And I'll have a TLDR at the bottom because this is going to be long. Oh, no. Part 1, the background. Let me start off with my problem. My 2 best friends in the world are male, and I've slept with both of them. It's not as bad as it seems, though. It's not like I have feelings for either of them. They're both childhood friends whom I have known for years and years. So I love them with all of my heart, but the thought of being in a relationship with either of them is unfathomable. One of them, we'll call him Rob, is married now, but we had a brief relationship senior year of high school. We broke up after less than a year for several reasons. I wanted to travel abroad for university. He wanted kids and I didn't. His mother didn't think I was good fit for him, I know, but we still remained friends. The other, we'll call him John, is a bit more complicated. I would never date him because he has serious issues, and it's not so much issues that stop me from dating him, but it's the fact he adamantly refuses any kind of help or therapy for them. Valid. He has some major childhood trauma that he's been big time repressing, and it's affected his ability to have a relationship. He's a bit of a womanizer. After I got back from university abroad, I was 23 and all alone, and I needed a place to live. His parents had moved out of a condo on the beach, and they let John live in their old house. Damn, okay, lucky. And he offered me one of the spare bedrooms for very low rent, so we lived together for a while without incident. I dated a guy for like 2 years, and John had a constant stream of women in and out of his bedroom, but we discovered a system that worked for us and became closer than ever. That's pretty nice. I like that. Okay, so that's Rob and John. The problem was, one night about a year after I broke up with my ex, we hung out in the house alone and got drunk together. We were both super horny and hooked up, and we had amazing sex. Okay. Like, really mind-blowing. I don't know if it was because I was drunk or I'd only slept with 2 other people in my life. We're both subpar. Rob and I were virgins and only had sex twice before we broke up, and one of the main reasons I split with my other ex was sexual incompatibility. But either way, it's great, and we didn't want to stop, so we kept hooking up for about 8 months. At that point, one of his old exes came back into his life, and he realized he had feelings for her. We tried to stop hooking up, but quite frankly, we have no self-control. I realized at 19 and had a steady job, and there was no reason I shouldn't move out, so I left. We had one last night of sex the day before I moved out, and agreed to never talk about it again. Okay. The guy she tells you not to worry about. I'm sorry, I already feel jealous. Part 2, the boyfriend. You can skip this section, I suppose. It just talks about how my boyfriend, who we'll call Sam, and I got together and outlined some of his insecurities and why this may be a problem for him. Oh yeah, you know, my boyfriend's just really insecure. My boyfriend's just really insecure about John, who fucks hard, and we have the most mind-blowing sex, and my boyfriend's really insecure about it, but you know what? You don't need to read anything about him. Like, this whole section is just about how insecure my boyfriend is. Girl, stop. Okay. Sam had been a longtime coworker of mine. We started working together when I got my job at 26. He was 29 and getting divorced. He told me all about it as it was happening. He and his wife got married too fast. She had just broken up with her ex, and 5 months into dating Sam, she discovered she was pregnant with her ex's child. She pressured Sam into marriage because she didn't want to be a single mom, and he agreed. You can imagine why this didn't work out. Anyway, Sam and I became best friends in the workplace. He would tell me stories about his divorce, and I would tell him some embarrassing childhood stories about Rob and John. Oh yeah, didn't I mention? We all work together. Rob and John are in different departments, but it's a pretty close-knit company. So he knew I had dated Rob in high school, but never knew about me hooking up with John. When I told him I was moving out of John's house, he asked me why, and I just said that we were getting older and it was time to get my own place, which was absolutely true. That just happened to be the day that he confessed his longtime feelings for me, and we began to date. Part 3, the problem. About a half a year ago, we decided to move in together. His lease was ending and I owned my house, so he moved into my place. He sometimes works really late nights, and on occasion I'll have Rob or John over to keep me company when he does. Last night he was meant to be working until 11 p.m. John was here, and we were hanging out in the living room. It was about 10:30 p.m., and we were drinking a bit and talking kind of loudly. John mentioned to me that his girlfriend was always jealous/worried that he and I had feelings for each other. I said that was silly, and just because two people have great sex doesn't mean they're in love. As I said, we were talking pretty loudly, so I guess Sam came in at some point and heard me say that. I didn't even hear him unlock the front door, but he stormed into the living room and confronted me, asking when John and I had sex. He looked equal parts disappointed and angry. John left because he didn't want to be involved in our argument. I explained everything, told him John and I used to hook up when we lived together, and that was part of the reason I had moved out of his place, because it wasn't healthy for us to have that kind of relationship. It had been 4 years and we rarely ever spoke about it, and it hasn't affected our friendship at all. Sam now tells me he's uncomfortable with the fact that I've slept with both of the people I consider my best friends in the world. He's also uncomfortable with the fact that, just a few days before he and I got together, I had sex with John. He says it taints our entire relationship because I lied to him about it. I think he's being puritanical about it. Of course I have a sexual past, and why does it matter that it was only just a few days before, since it didn't mean anything? It's not like I had feelings for John, and we had always used protection and frequently got tested, and I told Sam that, so it's not like he's concerned about health risks. He's just jealous, and he wants me to hang out with John less, and he doesn't feel comfortable with us drinking together at all. He also insists I should make new friends and separate myself a bit from Rob and John because it's weird that both of the people I'm closest with are people who have seen me naked. Oh, God. I think he's being entirely unreasonable. John and I are both in relationships, and we have no feelings for each other whatsoever. The fact that we hooked up with each other for a while is something we want to leave in the past, and to bring Rob into it is just ridiculous. It's been 15 years since we had anything to do with each other romantically, and he's now married with kids. I think Sam just wants to punish me or something because he's weirdly jealous. I honestly don't know what to make of this situation. TLDR, Rob and John, my two best friends in the world, are male, and I've slept with both of them. I was with Rob 15 years ago when we broke up. John and I had F with B situation, and the last time we hooked up was a few days before I started dating Sam. Sam just found out about John and thinks that it's weird that I'm still close with people I've had sex with. Is he in the right? Should I reduce my contact with Rob and John to try to make new friends, or is Sam just being unreasonable? Where do you think they all work? Do you think it's a restaurant? She didn't say one damn thing about where they work, but do you think it's a restaurant? This sounds like restaurant behavior. God, dude. I'm definitely of the opinion that if you can't trust your partner to be around members of the sex that they're attracted to, if you can't trust your partner to be around people and you have to be like, well, if you're gonna hang out with him, I don't want you to drink together and I don't want you to hang out alone. If you're reaching that point, you need to break up. And I don't care if it's because they're actually untrustworthy or if you just can't trust them. Both of those are a problem. And this is just, they just need to break up, but I know if they do, it's just gonna, it doesn't matter because they all work in a restaurant. I bet $5 they work in a restaurant. I hope they say something in the comments about it. Like, I really do feel like she has feelings for John. I feel like the only reason she is not with John is because she doesn't want to raise a man-child. But everything else about him she loves. They had mind-blowing sex, dude. Not only did she and John have mind-blowing sex, but they were able to live with each other on such amicable terms when they were both sleeping with other people. I think they just both need to be in an open relationship together, but she realizes that he's not mature enough for that, and she's like, oh well, like, he's the one, except for this one way where he won't step up, and I really do feel like she's settling for Sam, and that's what he's kind of recognizing. I don't know, that's me, that's my read on the situation. I think Sam should feel worried about John, and I think that he has every right to feel suspicious of OP, because I feel suspicious of OP. Alright, you want to see his point of view, switch your positions. Put yourself in his shoes. He's got two best friends, who happen to be female, that he also used to sleep with. Now, one night you come home from work, Sam is hanging out with one of them, and you hear them mention how they had great sex. Go on, please tell me how you react to this knowledge. Is he unreasonable in terms of Rob? Yes, that man is married now. Is he unreasonable about John? No, not really. Are these two your only friends, or do you simply hang out with them the most out of everyone? You see? And I think whatever answer to that question, I still think it's sus. OP replied, I mean, I do have other friends obviously, but we went to school together, and we've been friends for almost our entire lives. But I guess I see where he's coming from with John. I just got so caught up in the fact that he was bringing Rob into it too that I couldn't take him seriously. But when you put it like that, ... Reply, it's pretty common, though, that none of us want our significant others to hang out with former lovers, let alone invite them to our shared living space and then have drinks with them in the evening. Sam's issue isn't with the fact that you slept with other people before him, but that you keep those two people in your life so far, and continue to involve them in the life that you share with Sam. I think you've been around Rob and John for far too long that you've simply made them a part of your routine in life, so Sam's issue with them might seem unreasonable to you when it isn't. The question now is whether you're going to do anything about it. OP replies, that makes sense. I think some part of me was just hoping that since Sam likes both of the guys and is friends with them too, and we've been together for so long, that it wouldn't be a big deal to him. But I understand why it is. At a minimum, I need to stop drinking with John and inviting him over late at night. Girl. I would be worried about John. Oh, you don't need to worry about John. Meanwhile, John, best sexual experience of her life. And they ended the FWB on amicable terms. The fact that it wasn't because she was done with the relationship, but that he wanted his ex back, that John wanted his ex back, I wouldn't trust her around John. I'd be breaking up. Like, I wouldn't be able to handle that information coming out that late on. Okay, we got another Shakespeare here. Rough Lobster says, let's rate this from his position. Hey everyone, I'm in a bit of a situation with my girlfriend. She has two best friends who hang out all the time. Now normally I'm not jealous, but this situation just keeps throwing up red flags. I'll skip the long introduction and get right to the situation currently at hand. That was a little dig. That was a little dig at OP for putting this in 3 parts. I occasionally work late. My job can be demanding and my girlfriend doesn't really like to be home alone. I understand that she normally calls over one of her 2 friends. I always thought it was nice that they found the time to hang out because it can be hard to keep friends after marrying. However, I came home last night and before I shut the door, I heard a drunken conversation. John stated that his wife was jealous of them and my wife mentioned how they had good sex, but his wife didn't need to worry. Needless to say, I rushed in and tried to figure out what the hell was going on. I questioned them, and apparently they have a past together, which I did not know about. Not only that, but apparently it stopped barely before we got together. Everything about this situation makes me feel like I'm not getting the full truth. Why didn't she tell me she had sex with this man who's constantly over? Is this the type of thing they talk about on a normal basis? If she had told me before, I imagine it would have been less of a shock, but I keep thinking that she hid this from me because she knew she was doing something wrong or that I might not like it. I'm pretty furious right now. She could be cheating on me every time he is over and I would have no clue because I've always assumed she was telling me the whole truth. What do I do? I don't want to throw this away, but I can't help but think there's something else going on. And that's the end of the commenter's little imagine before they say, "As for me, I think you fucked up. You lied by omission and spent time with a person that you lied about. Of course he feels like the relationship is tainted. He has had 100% trust in you and your actions, and now he is seeing that for 4 years he has been lied to. It retroactively makes him reassess every single situation where you and John were alone together. At bare minimum, you need to scale back for the time being and stop spending so much late night time alone with him." I think she gets that by now. But I also think what she doesn't get is the underlying reason why she won't let John go. And that's because she did not break up with John. She's still trying to play it cool. In my opinion, the tide is high, but she's holding on. There is an update from 14 months later. I know it's over a year later and probably nobody remembers this post, but I will never forget it because hearing from all of you Redditors changed my life and saved my relationship. So if there's anyone here who read my last post, you deserve to know that you were right. Was I right? I was right? Me? I was right? After reading all the comments on the last post, I realized that Sam was not overreacting at all, and would have been more than reasonable to break up with me because of this. I showed him my post, and we had a long discussion in which I promised I would never hang out with Rob or John alone again. I told him I loved him so much, and that he was the most important person in my life, and I would do anything to gain his trust back, even if he wanted me to stop seeing my friends altogether. He said that wasn't necessary, and didn't mind if I saw them alone occasionally, just would prefer if it were in public, and not late night or with alcohol involved. Like, duh. He felt sorry for being judgmental of me, but I told him that he was completely right, and my relationship with John was inappropriate. I just needed something like this to make me see it. So we moved past it fairly easily and are actually now married. It was a courthouse wedding on our 5th anniversary. Very lovely. Now here's the part where everyone was right. After my conversation with Sam, John and I drifted apart a bit. I still hung out with Rob and his wife, but John broke up with his girlfriend and I no longer felt comfortable being with him alone. So he and I would hang out with Rob. But that happened maybe once or twice a month, where before we would see each other a few times a week. Then last Thanksgiving, when Sam and I announced we were getting married, John actually left dinner early. He replied shortly to all my messages, didn't return my calls, and barely spoke to me. I didn't see him again until my wedding in December. Bruh. I knew it. Be wary of John. You can guess where this is going. Thankfully nothing happened at the wedding, although that would have made a great screenplay, as someone in a comment on the last post mentioned. Okay, whatever. It was a small ceremony, just our families, a couple of Sam's friends, Rob, his wife, and John. Surprised John even came. We went out to a restaurant for a reception dinner, and John seemed withdrawn the entire time. I guess he was not happy that I was married, so since Sam and I got back from the honeymoon in January, I have seen John maybe twice, once for Easter and again for Rob's birthday. I've tried to say hi at work, but he always makes an excuse and walks away. He didn't even come out to Sam's birthday last month. After that, I decided to stop trying to reach out to him, and he could talk to me when he was ready. Last week, he was finally ready. Sam was offered an opportunity to travel abroad for 8 months with his job, with me invited to come along. We decided to accept it, and I suppose John saw Sam's Facebook post about it, because the next day John sought me out at work. He asked me if I was leaving the country for 8 months, and when I said yes, he asked why I couldn't stay. I asked why he cared if I stayed, when we really hadn't spoken in months. He said, "I'm sorry, never mind," and walked away. But at that point, it was clearer than ever what had really been going on. So Sam and I are leaving in September. His job will be waiting for him when he gets back, but I have decided to find him a new one. I'm glad that I'll be out of the country for a bit. I feel really stupid for not having realized that John could have feelings for me. There's never been anything here on my end, so I just assumed it was the same for him, since we were able to be roommates and friends with benefits. It seems obvious now. Everyone who commented on my last post was spot on about our relationship not being normal, and I'm so glad that Reddit was able to see that it wasn't. I'm so deliriously happy in love with my husband. I don't even want to think about what would have happened if I had not posted here. So thank you all again, and I hope this update is in some way satisfying. TLDR. Oh, shut up. John had feelings for me, God knows how long. I was adult for not seeing it. I don't want to spend time with him anymore. I'm married. I'm extremely grateful for the sub. Okay. Comments, good for you, OP, and good for the guy who wrote the top comment in the last thread. I think he nailed it. Reddit's a pretty cool place sometimes. You mean the guy who wrote the post from my husband's point of view? Yeah, that one really got to me. Oh my god. I don't know. I think it was cheesy, but it takes a really big person to admit they're wrong and then remedy the situation. Congrats on the wedding. You know, I would like to apologize to OP for assuming that she was the one. And here's the thing. I didn't think that it was a malicious type of thing. I've just seen situations like this where, you know, when a person suppresses their feelings for somebody, they're like, yeah, and I don't really care because we're just friends, and we're just friends with benefits, and it's fine. I saw some version of that, but I do apologize to OP for assuming that she would be the one that would be unfaithful. And I'm glad that it's worked out. And, in another universe, you ended up with John, and y'all went through some tough times, but you eventually figured out you didn't need to fix him. But that's an alternate universe. Top comment. What gets me is that she was reminiscing with John about their great sex when he walked in too. That part was kinda glossed over. Not only did she lie by omission, she talked like she missed the experience. I don't think that I would have recovered from that. OP's husband is stronger than me. I do agree with that. Because why were you telling us all that it was mind-blowing sex? Why would you tell us all it was mind-blowing sex? I don't know, I still am a little worried about John. I'm gonna say it. I know that I just apologized to OP, but I'm gonna revoke that apology right now. I am still a little worried about John. And yeah, and in the post that she showed to Sam. Yeah, clocked. And in the part that she showed Sam, she spent paragraphs talking about how wonderful it was to fuck John, then explicitly said, you can skip this part, it's about Sam. Yeah, and that first post was written after Sam had heard them and their relationship was dangling by a thread. Even then she couldn't stop herself. No, exactly, she's reminiscing about it. Methinks John was not the only one hung up. Yes, I completely revoke my apology. I unapologize. I'm still suspicious of OP, and just because you've been together for 5 years, you know, doesn't mean that you can't slip up and make a mistake one day, because you clearly think about John's dick often. She also said they couldn't stop because they have no self-control. Weird to say that in present tense when it supposedly hasn't happened in 4 years. Yeah. No one talking about my boy Sam, dude's a master of forgiveness. When your relationship is on the line and you're still waxing poetic about how great the sex was, it says a lot about where your head was back then. Growth happened eventually, but the blind spot was huge. Yeah, and she said you can skip the part for the boyfriend where she drops the info that they all work together. This girl works at a restaurant and she is all about the drama. She loves the drama. You know that she's in every Facebook group about being a restaurant worker, and all of the drama in her life happens on the job, because that's not where she works, that's where she goes to get stories about her crazy life. You can't convince me that these people do not work in a restaurant. Another comment, we stopped being roommates because we literally could not keep our hands off each other despite him openly expressing interest in a closed relationship with someone else is something. IDK, she thought that was alright. Oh yeah! She also said that after he got back with his ex, they were still sleeping together. She just casually was like, yeah, you know, and John cheated on his current partner with me a little bit, but we had to end it. We had to end it. She still wants John. Girl, you still want John. It's so evident. I can't believe you gaslit me for a second. All the signs are there. Clocked. I feel like she was let down by no one suggesting that Sam sleep with John and Rob so they'd be even. No reason to feel awkward. That's a good one. That's a great one. She lied by omission, but at least in the end she finally understood and took Redditor's advice, realizing where she was wrong. We finally did it, yay. reply said, no, didn't she outright lie? She told Sam that she moved because it was whatever reason. Yeah, exactly. No, that's true. OOP and Sam were already very close when she moved out, so essentially she was already banging John, a guy who Sam knew and worked with, and she hid all of this until she got caught. I feel sad for Sam. Judging from his past, he doesn't deserve this. Crazy she couldn't see the issue at first, but she at least actually took the advice. She kind of did, at least subconsciously. If she didn't, she'd have no issue mentioning the fact that she had hooked up with John. OP is just Robin from How I Met Your Mother, John is Barney, and Rob is Ted. Clocked. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, is this story just lifted from How I Met Your Mother? Because I would buy that. I think that's a good comment to end that one on. Yeah, I think that Sam should find somebody who doesn't treat him like a background character in his own marriage. Here's another one from r/Nothing Ever Happens. The title, Recruiters Never Lie to Applicants. It's a screenshot from a comment section on another Reddit post in r/interview something. I don't know what the post is, but the comment on the post said, good for you for standing your ground. The fact that they admitted to lying about the salary on LinkedIn just to attract better candidates is a massive red flag. Honestly, you should report them to LinkedIn or Glassdoor. If they're openly practicing bait-and-switch tactics, other professionals deserve a heads up so they don't waste their time too. Well done for calling me a unicorn hunt. Yeah, okay, good. And somebody was like, it's a made-up story, bro. These things don't really happen in real life. Wow, like, wow. Why? Let's check the comments. The person who thinks this doesn't happen is a target for being taken advantage of. If you don't believe stuff like this happens, you won't be looking out for it. Yeah, honestly, recruit this guy to your MLM. It's probably useless to report them, but it happens, yeah. Recruiters are some of the more despicable people. One called my company saying he works for my customer to get his number, then tried to recruit me. When they called me again later, same or different recruiter, they said they said they got my number from LinkedIn first, then zing. It's like for them lying is as easy as breathing. Yeah, that's scary, dude. Yeah, stay safe out there. Here's one from Best of Redditor Updates. Am I the asshole for saying no to my future mother-in-law's plan to give my fiancé away at our wedding? I love how trigger warnings is, there's a trigger warning, and it has a spoiler filter over it. That's so funny, but trigger warning controlling behavior. Alright. Original post January 5th, 2026. Evan, 31 male, and I, 28 female, are getting married in 5 weeks, and a disagreement with my future mother-in-law has turned wedding planning into an ideological debate. Oh, boy. She is a lifelong feminist and a single mother who raised Evan entirely on her own. She believes that because fathers traditionally give away daughters, she should be able to give away her son, as an equal feminist gesture. I think that's innocent. I think that's sweet. I don't have an issue with this. I'm kind of scared to keep reading. Her plan is to walk my fiancé down the aisle while I stand at the altar. Yes, I'm supposed to watch him walk down the aisle. Give a short speech about raising him, present him with a ring, and then place his hand into mine before the ceremony begins. Pause. That doesn't sound feminist to me, that sounds boy mom. That's boy mom behavior. That's not... What's... I'm at that point where I'm so enraged that I'm like, this is fake. But I know that that's the reason why I want it to be fake, because it... Yes. I understand the argument intellectually. In fact, one of the main reasons that I fell in love with Evan is for his ability to never diminish me, to listen to my opinion, and to treat me as an intellectual equal. But I always assumed that I would walk down the aisle to him. I've always seen this as a romantic and a given. She says my father can still walk me down the aisle first just as usual, but I would be walking to a lonely officiant. Yeah, okay, I see that. When I said no, she accused me of being not a feminist, and then anti-feminist. My fiancé understands both sides. That's another boy mom trigger. That's another boy mom trigger right there. My fiancé understands both sides. He thinks it is reasonable, and that things in the world have changed. His family thinks I am overreacting. I am not canceling the wedding. I'm only refusing this specific request. So, am I the asshole? Yeah, there's nothing feminist about what's being described there. There's... When a couple has, like, gender role subversions in their wedding, that's great. But that's the couple's decision, though. Like, that can't be... The two people getting married have say over everything in that wedding. Everything in that wedding. Now, I've never dreamed of having a wedding. I've never dreamed of getting married or being married. So there's a lot of, feelings that I don't really contend with. I understand that, weddings always involve the family to some extent, but at the end of the day, the bride and the groom should be the ones making these types of decisions, and I think it's a little bit rude to suggest a role subversion to the people that are getting married. If the bride and the groom in this situation had decided that they wanted to switch it, that's great. If you are the mother-in-law, and you're the one having that decision, and the bride and the groom have not come up with that organically, you keep your mouth shut, because that's not even a suggestion that you should make. That's like suggesting the flavor of the wedding cake. And honestly, as I say that, I know that there's people out there that would hear that and be like, well, what's wrong with that? Let's read the comments. Top comments. Why can't she walk him down the aisle first, then you walk with your dad, not the asshole? There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. I think we know the reason. It's because she wants eyes on her, and or her special boy, whether she's a feminist or a boy mom. Next comment. As a feminist, your future mother-in-law will undoubtedly agree that it is every woman's right to make the required decisions together with her future husband about her own wedding, without outside interference. Tell her to respect your boundaries, not to impose her will on you and your son, and to respectfully wait with her opinions until asked. It is you guys' wedding, not hers. Exactly. Next comment. Not the asshole, it's your wedding. You have to love your day. I don't know where you live, but at least in Northern Europe, it's quite common nowadays that the couple walks down the aisle together. Have you considered doing that? Because the couple took the decision to get married, parents don't give the kids away anymore. Maybe that might be an option. See, I like that too. And I think that is where I struggle with, like, weddings, because, like, it seems like a wedding is just a package of a whole bunch of traditions that I just don't give a shit about. And so it's hard for me to gauge, like, what's, like, okay for a wedding and what's not. But I think in terms of just, like, basic human decency, I agree with that, and I agree with amending that, see, and that's a type of suggestion that makes things more equal. And if you still want to be the bride being given away by your father because you really, really like that tradition for some reason, it's your wedding, you should be allowed to do that. Next comment. Evan, this may be how your mother is, but this independent woman is not going to tolerate her nonsense. Okay, cool, so we're addressing the groom now. She can walk you down the aisle before I enter. Our wedding... Whoa. Hold up. What's going on? Is this from OP? Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So, it appears that this commenter is giving OP a script. Evan, this may be how your mother is, but this independent woman is not going to tolerate her nonsense. She can walk you down the aisle before I enter. Our wedding is not some feminist statement of your mother's, it is our day. Your suggestion is not wanted or warranted. If you wish to continue our relationship with me, you will discuss it with me, and we will never acquiesce to an unreasonable demand from your mother. It is just her trying to assert control in our relationship and calling it feminism. It's not feminism, it's just a controlling dynamic where she's used to getting her way. Now she can have a speech at the wedding reception, as is the tradition. The ceremony is not about her and her beliefs. Whilst we have a father and daughter dance. Period. Perhaps your mother can engage in a mother-son dance. That is the compromise. You have a choice to make, Evan. Is it our day or is it your Mother's Day? Capitalized Mother's Day. If you want to put her needs and wants above that of your wife, It tells me what our life will be like together. Where your mom's decisions about our lives will always be a compromise. We have to her thoughts. We have to her thoughts in every moment of our lives. How will we raise children where we live? Period, question mark. When would it actually stop? Then I think it's best we don't get married. Okay. Thank you, commenter, for ripping the bong and then typing that comment. That was delightful. Okay, there is an update 2 days later, which by now is barely a week. So one other thing that I wanted to say, is that there's a few different dynamics I can see at play here, and they can all be true. It can be very true that this mother is a feminist. It can also be very true that she got very insular with her beliefs, and isolated herself, and compensated for her lack of outside friendships by being a boy mom. And it's also very possible that the very reason why Oki was drawn to Evan is because she herself is used to being a little controlling. That's very possible. I don't know any of these people, but multiple things can be true at once, and if the mother has been very, controlling and overpowering, that can lead to Evan having been very passive. And there is nothing wrong with being passive, but sometimes it can lead to falling into another controlling relationship. So, alright, let's read the update. January 7th, 2026, 2 days later. Hi everyone, I wanted to come back and respond after taking some time to read the comments and really think things through. I shared the post with Evan, and he was amazed at all of the responses and all the time that people had taken to really help us. First, this is actually happening to me, or should I say us. This is not a hypothetical or exaggerated, and it's honestly nothing I ever imagined would be happening while planning a wedding. I've been pretty flabbergasted by her asks, even though I understand where they are coming from emotionally. I don't. For some added context, my future mother-in-law is a very successful doctor, and she has contributed significant amount of money toward the wedding. Because of that, she feels strongly that she deserves a special moment during the ceremony. I think the strings attached has made this more complicated than it otherwise would be. Throughout all of this, I've made a conscious effort to stay calm and collected. I pride myself on being empathetic and understanding, while still being firm in my own boundaries. I explained to Evan that I have always imagined walking down the aisle and seeing his first reaction to me, the look on his face, and the emotion in that moment. I think a lot of women can relate to that. He immediately understood and validated that feeling. He also shared something important with me, which is that he has never really been in a position to disagree with his mother on something this meaningful, especially given how much she is contributing. That helped me see that this wasn't just awkward for me, but genuinely difficult for him as well. He agreed that the speech was not something we wanted, and was fine at the reception. Lord help me. What? Okay. So we decided to approach this as a unit instead of leaving him to navigate it alone, thanks to some helpful advice given in the comments. Together we explained that a speech was not what we wanted during the ceremony, and that a ring wouldn't work in the long run. Oh, okay. So she wanted a speech during the ceremony if she couldn't. Okay. Together we explained that a speech was not what we wanted during the ceremony, and that a ring wouldn't work in the long run, since he would already be wearing his wedding ring and doesn't expect to wear additional rings after the wedding. Pause. Instead, we suggested a watch that he could wear for the ceremony and enjoy after. Evan loved this idea. He had one in mind that he wanted. Pause. Did she say that she wanted to give him a ring? A ring wouldn't work in the long run. Where did the mother-in-law say she deserves a special moment during the ceremony? Did she suggest she wanted a ring? Okay, continuing on. He also proposed that they make a day of it together beforehand, just the two of them, to choose the watch and spend time together. That part felt meaningful without overlapping into the ceremony itself. The compromise we landed on is that she can walk him down the aisle, they can share a kiss, and she can be seated in the first row. Instead of asking, who gives this woman, the officiant will ask, who lovingly raised this woman and this man, and both of our parents will stand and answer, which she agreed is fair. Okay, that's good. We are hoping and praying she sticks to these boundaries. I'll admit I'm still a little nervous about the speech she might try to add, but for now we feel okay with where things landed. Okay. She will be wearing a powder blue outfit, which I'm completely fine with, and thankfully not white. We also decided to have a non-traditional officiant, a female justice of the peace, which feels very fitting for us. Surprisingly, she was agreeable to all of this and ultimately decided on the watch. Evan and I are extremely relieved and feel ready to continue planning our special day. I'm so excited. I just wanted to sincerely thank everyone for their amazing suggestions and insight. Reading through your comments really helped us navigate this incredibly touchy subject with my future mother-in-law, and I feel more confident about holding boundaries while being respectful. It truly helped me more than you know. Okay. It's still the beginning of their relationship. The wedding has not happened yet. Well, not the beginning of their relationship, but it's the beginning of their marriage. Wedding has not happened. I'm really hoping that OP is overreacting. I hope that she is. Because the alternative is that it's getting a little bit emotional incesty. I couldn't find a reference to the ring other than... Oh, it's in the original post. Okay, give a short speech about raising him, present him with a ring, and then place his hand into mine. Okay. Yeah, the ring thing is actually a gigantic red flag to me. That's definitely giving Daddy-Daughter Dream Team comments. Top comment, throwing her a shout-out at the reception would be a nice gesture as well, perhaps during the toast. OP said, yes, I'll do my best to be gracious, and thank the parents individually for their help and support. That is very good to keep in mind, plus I don't want to be a self-centered bridezilla. I don't know. Another commenter. I'm glad everything worked itself out, and that you're happy with what's agreed upon. I would strongly encourage you and your husband-to-be to do some pre-marriage counseling to prepare for when a member of either of your family, be it mother-in-law or not, decide to grandstand and ask you to compromise on your wishes and relationship. Hopefully you'll have some tools to use for dealing with it. Have a wonderful wedding, hopefully with no more big asks from anyone other than for you two to enjoy yourselves. I like that comment. That's very tactful. That's a very tactful way to say that. OP responds, sounds like words of wisdom. I will talk to Evan about premarital counseling. I mean, it couldn't hurt. Thank you for the sage advice. Somebody's asking about the watch. I don't care. Well, OP doesn't even mention which watch he picked. Another commenter said, I suspect there's still going to be a speech. I suspect as well. Commenter replied to that, a speech about what she wanted to do, but about how she gracefully offered the alternative that they are experiencing because she is so wonderful and would do anything for her baby boy. That's a lot of assumptions, but let's see what OOP's reaction to that was. OMG, I'm going to have 4 weeks of endless nights trying to sleep. Fingers crossed that she contains herself. No matter what happens, I'm going to enjoy myself and try to slow down and take in all of the good things. Wish us luck. Next commenter, well, whatever you do, do not give her a key to your house. That might be a leap. But again, I mean, OP does sound very concerned that mother-in-law is still gonna try something. So, I don't know, like, there might be a lot more sinister things going on behind the scenes. I don't know, yeah, no, it is, like, aging my brain back up to the age that I currently am of 30. Yeah, no, don't ever give your mother-in-law a key to your house. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Lol, giving away a child at a wedding is in no way a feminist idea, even if you reverse the gender. The practice is rooted in the idea that women were property to be given away from the father or to the male head of the household to the new husband that now basically owned her. The feminist stance would be to do away with the concept of that entirely. Yes, I agree. Yes. Yes. That's where the tradition comes from. You can make it as sweet as you want to be and talk it up. But that's where the tradition comes from. It comes from women being property. Period. Someone responded, the mother-in-law may be a feminist, but she's also nuts. As a raging feminist, I find the whole giving a person away thing disgusting and barbaric. People are sentient beings with choice and will, not fucking property. Just because it's tradition doesn't make it incredibly gross and stupid. Okay, I get what they were trying to say. Man, people are getting into it, but I still agree with that. Yes, here we go, next commenter. Disguising boy mom nonsense in pseudo-feminism doesn't stop it from being boy mom nonsense. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Upvote. Award. but it's decorative, and it has bows and sugar sprinkles. Putting a feminist patina on a weird patriarchal concept such as Boy Mom is remarkably similar to serving jello shots at a temperance meeting to make it festive. Blech. Cool. Another commenter. Why? Why do the clingy moms have to turn themselves into the bride? I couldn't fathom doing this to my son or to-be daughter-in-law. Okay, yes. Okay. We all glossed over this. His mother wants to give her son a ring at his wedding to someone else, and that's before the actual ceremony between the bride and groom takes place. Can someone tell me what part of Alabama she came from? Yeah. Yeah, no, that part was weird. That part was weird, and I don't know how I didn't clock it when I first read the original story. That one's wild. Yeah, and I do think also gigantic powder blue flag that she wants to wear powdered blue. And I know that OP was like, thank God it's not white. But if you even have to say thank God it's not white about your mother-in-law, like, I think you know what shenanigans she's going to pull. Yeah. Well, I'm scared. I don't know what was that. So I think we'll end it there. I personally love listening to Reddit stories, and I feel like a lot of people do. I really love listening to the Smosh ones, but I just want to be listening to them, like, all the time. So I figured I might as well, try my hand at some Reddit reading style videos. Let me know in the comments. I know that I already asked you to comment with, like, a green heart or something, but if you liked this style of video, a faceless video where I just play a game and read stories, go ahead and let me know. If you would rather that I did, like, if I switched it up and did a Toontown video with my face in it while reading them, of course, if I did that, it would be difficult to read and play at the same time. But let me know if you've been watching my stuff and if you like the sound of my voice. I'm not necessarily taking any criticism on audio quality at the moment, as I am limited by the funds that I currently have. But if you want to see more insaniquarium, because I love this game. I apparently love games about aliens and fish at the same time. But if you want to see more of me playing insaniquarium, please let me know. If you think this is the most disgusting game you've ever seen and you never want me to play it again, go ahead and let me know. I'm probably going to play it again, but go ahead and let me know if you hate it. Then, as far as other videos go, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing here. I'm just going to play games that I consider to be cozy gaming, nostalgic gaming. I'm a little scared of downloading some abandonware at this point. I've gotten very paranoid, I think, when it comes to tech. It's really set in that I need to be taking care of my Surface Pro 9 because it's hard enough to edit one video at a time on that thing, and it's the only thing that I have right now, and I would like to eventually be able to upgrade that and, like, stream on there, but, yeah, that's gold. But just leave comments. Leave comments if you on what you are liking and what you're disliking that I'm putting out. If you enjoyed listening to my disembodied voice read Reddit stories for the past hour and so, go ahead and leave a green heart in the comments section, just so that I know that you enjoyed it, and then I can make more of these. I mean, I'll probably make some more of them regardless of feedback. But at a certain point, I will be having to make some decisions based on what does and doesn't get traction. So, if you like this video, if you like any of my videos, comment a little green heart if you can't think of any other comment, and that'll just let me know that you want me to do more of this. Alright, thank you for watching if you did.